Maumee River is the site for today's PBA National Championship. There's been an illustrious field of past winners, including the very first champion, Don Carter, in 1960. Billy Hardwick, the 1963 champion. 1965 and 67 champion, Dave Davis. Two-time winner, Wayne Zahn. 1969 and 70 champion, Mike McGrath. Three-time winner, Earl Anthony. And last year's champion, Johnny PETRAGLIA, who with his victory became the only bowler in PBA history since Billy Hardwick to capture each of the Triple Crown events. Who will be this year's PBA National Champion? We'll find out today. Live for the 20th consecutive year, ABC Sports presents the Pro Bowlers Tour. Today, the championship finals of the $135,000 PBA National Championship, as these top 5 bowlers compete for the $21,000 first prize. In 5th place from Burleson, Texas, last year's PBA National Champion runner-up Gary Dickinson. In 4th place from Tenton Falls, New Jersey, winner of 18 PBA titles, Dave Davis. In 3rd place from Vancouver, USA, Washington, making his 3rd appearance in the championship finals this year, Ernie Schlegel. In 2nd place from St. Louis, Missouri, a great champion winner of 26 PBA titles, Dick Weber. And our leader, shooting for an unprecedented 4th PBA National Championship, Earl Anthony. And live, ladies and gentlemen, we show you the entrance to the Imperial lanes, and we've had the good fortune of coming here for 13 years. That's right. After a lapse of a few, we're back this year, and I'm Chris Schlegel on the approaches, which is the site of the PBA National Championship. And this is the first jewel in bowling's Triple Crown. A few weeks ago, United States Open was won by Marshall Holman to set up the first of the 3. This is the second, the PBA National Championship. And then in a few weeks, the Firestone Tournament of Champions. And you know, after 56 games, you'd expect veterans to get into the finals, because that's a grueling test. And that is the case today. In the 5, we have an average age of 41. A total of 87 titles. That's right. And in the group of 5, we have 3 PBA Hall of Famers. I'm delighted now to have you meet one of the legends of bowling, one of those Hall of Famers, as we go to another Hall of Famer, my colleague, Nelson Burton Jr. Bo?
And with me is Dick Weber, Chris. Dick, you won in 1959, you won in the 60s, you won in the 70s, and today you could be the first bowler in professional history to win titles in 4 decades. Really, what do you owe that longevity in this game of bowling to?
Well, Bo, first of all, I owe a lot to the good fortune, the good breaks in the bowling game, and the wonderful people that give me the support, but also I can't forget my family that encouraged me and put up with my bad bowling as well as my good bowling, and so that makes it easier. And, you know, just the sport itself, I just want to keep on going and win as much as I possibly can. I hope I'm out here another 10 years anyway.
Dick, you said the last couple of years have been a little bad. You haven't done so well this year, and yet today you're in contention to win your first national championship. What is it that makes you bowl so well in Toledo?
Well, this track house, it's a track house, and it fits my type of bowling. I can throw hard and keep the ball in play, in the pocket, and hope the carry is there for me. Of course, you've got 4 other hungry young gentlemen out there that won the title as bad as I do, so I'm going to give it all I got.
Chris, Dick's on the right track, and he may win his first national championship today.
All right, 2 fine fellows from St. Louis, and incidentally, Bo finished 11th, so he took a sizable amount of money out of the purse, which totaled $135,000 this week. And this afternoon live on our head-to-head coverage, the winner will get $21,000, the runner-up 11, and the money breakdown is 6 for 3rd, 5 for 4th, and 5th, $4,500. Stay tuned, head-to-head in our first match from Texas, Gary Dickinson against Dave Davis from New Jersey. Coming up next.
We are very proud of you, Peabody.
Thank you, sir.
Your design of the Firestone 721 is brilliant.
Well,
a tire using 7 around 2 wrapped by 1. Genius.
Oh.
24 million on the road, Peabody. And we're grateful.
Chief,
Just one more thing.
Sure.
Now, Peabody, we want you to top it.
Top it?
The Firestone 721. It's one tough tire to top.
Hey, there, Tex. What in the blazes is that thing?
This is one of them new small models.
Ride good?
Good, rides great.
Got me some Monroe-matic shocks. Little big shocks from Monroe.
Little Big Shocks.
Yep, best ride I ever had.
Of course, them's Monroe's.
Darn tootin' Monroe Little Big Shocks. Even fits imports.
Imports. What's imports?
Small car, America rides Monroe.
The great All-American Workshop sale is back. Special offers on name brand tools you want most for your home and car. Like these Cooper Group tools. Get this handy Little Nick utility hacksaw free when you buy a Lufkin Ultralock measuring tape. And get this 8-inch Nicholson file free when you buy Wiss Metal Master snips. So don't wait. Visit a participating hardware home center store now and save at the great All-American Workshop sale.
360 bowlers started here. Now we're down to the final 5. In position number 5, Gary Dickinson from Burleson, Texas. In the first match, will go head-to-head against Dave Davis of Tenton Falls, New Jersey. This is live. You either win or you leave. So here is Dave Davis, and Nelson Burton Jr. here is a great 18-time champion and a colorful left-hander.
2 national titles to his credit.
Twice the PBA champion, Dave Davis, has opened with a powerful strike. And now we look at even taller, 6'4" Gary Dickinson of Burleson, Texas, runner-up in last year's championship. Well, he got all but the 10-pin on the right lane.
Chris, this pair of lanes, as we said before, are more like the old style we saw in the 50s and 60s. One of the reasons we have such an experienced field. They're what we call a track lane condition on the right and a down and in shot on the left.
Cross lane. All right, and Gary Dickinson has marked with his pair. He was in the same position last year. We asked him what his chances were this year.
Yeah, I feel like if I get off to a good start and start stroking the ball and I can get lucky and win the first match, that I would definitely have a chance to go all the way, because I feel like the guy that won the match has a slight advantage over the people coming in.
Gary Dickinson, 215 average this week. On this pair, however, the championship pair, 198 on the left lane. Another 10-pin plagued by it.
Chris, a hit we haven't seen much that the players leave that much this week is the solid 10. These lanes are in ideal championship shape, and the hit we see quite often is the weak 10, but the solid 10 not very often.
So again, cross lane, Dickinson. Winner of this match will meet Ernie Schlegel. And in one of the most titled fields ever, the winner of our second game will go against Dick Weber, and the winner of that semifinal will meet Earl Anthony, the tournament leader. Now Davis, hoping to double. Right lane, second frame. High hit, avoided the split.
Both players experienced, very used to the championship round, and it's just a matter of who bowls the best today. Davis laid that ball a little short, broke very sharply, almost left the 6-8 cutting through, the 3-pin taking out the 6.
Last time we saw David on our live telecast, he lost from the top-seeded position in last year's Midas. So for Davis, it's a strike and a spare in our very first game from the Imperial Lanes in Toledo, Ohio, the glass capital of the world. Davis with a 1-pin lead will be shooting on the left lane now. Capacity crowd. Crowds like you can't imagine all week long, Bo, here where you finished 11th.
Chris, 56-game format, the long national tour format. We start on Sunday with practice all the way down to this Saturday.
Right back, as he did in the opening frame on the same lane, a strike. And now Dickinson, who is marked with 2 spares, he'll be shooting in the 3rd frame.
An interesting thing about this pair of lanes, the right-hand lane, lane 26, is slicker for the right-handers and hooks more for the left-handers. And the left-hand lane is slicker for the left-handers and hooks more for the righties. I'll explain the reason why in a moment.
Not quite leaving the 4.
You see that slick spot that Dickinson's ball just slid by. The reason being is when these lanes are resurfaced every 2 years, there's the leaders for the 7 rounds. When these pair of lanes are resurfaced or cut by a resurfacer to cut off the old wood and grain, they use a new pad on the left lane and an old one on the right lane, and so they don't come out exactly equal, and it really makes for good championship bowling.
So Gary Dickinson, born in Oklahoma, where he's an all-state high school basketball player. He's 6'4", 180 pounds. Now we'll shoot in the 4th frame. Last year, a great year, 1980, winning $62,000, which ranked him 6th on the year's money list.
And who can forget how unlucky he was in that final round of the championship at Firestone last year when he hit the pocket on almost every ball and still lost to Wayne Webb.
So now he'll have to shoot a 7. So he's getting a lot of spare shooting experience here. 2 10s, a 4, and now a 7 on the left lane.
Dickinson with that 2-finger style at the spares to kill the roll.
All right. Past PBA champion, Dave SOUTAR, 1961.
North club's clear and head wall's clear.
I guess it's Miller time.
Last one down buys.
Right.
I can taste that free beer now.
When it's time to relax.
What took you so long?
One beer stands clear, Miller beer, if you got the time. We've got the beer.
Here comes the tough new 1981 Ford. Once again, Ford's got the jump on its competition. Yes, Ford has the jump with the only pickup with estimated MPG this high and 2,500-pound payloads. Ford has the jump with the longest range of any pickup. Nobody has mileage and range this high with payload this big. See the tough 1981 Ford. It's got the jump on its competitors to give you the jump where it counts. At the pump.
Are America's champions Elaine Zayak and Scott Hamilton the world's best? Well, next on ABC's Wide World of Sport, we'll be in Hartford, Connecticut to find out at the World Figure Skating Championships as we cover the ladies' and men's finals. ABC's Wide World of Sports is next.
Be sure and watch Wide World, World Figure Skating, men's and ladies' finals, and the Florida Derby, a preview of what could happen at the Derby. All right, Henry Gonzalez, another fine professional, finished 6th, the alternate. He can only watch along with you.
Davis leads by 3 pins with a double here. He could extend his lead to 13.
Dave hasn't won for a long time, and we asked him why he's been a non-winner.
Well, 3 years ago, I bought a bowling center in New Jersey, and it's just detracted from my bowling game. My concentration on the tour hasn't been good enough because when you're out here, naturally you worry about what's happening back home. It's a great investment, and when I am home, I don't have time to practice. So now that it's running well, I can devote a little bit more time to practicing and working on my physical game.
Super 38-year-old pro. Twice winner of the Firestone Tournament of Champions makes it a 3-bagger and now a 23-pin lead.
And wife Joanne liked that reaction. Dave carried the wall shot in the 4th frame and tripped the 6th in the 5th. What a great break. Dickinson, all 4 balls have been around the pocket. Never count this man out.
Gary finished 5th in this year's Miller High Life Classic, losing to eventual winner Steve Martin in a 2-frame roll-off after tying 2:22. Took him 5 frames to get everything needed to strike, and Gary Dickinson now.
A camera from the back. Watch the release of Gary Dickinson. Fingers underneath the ball and rotation at the last minute. You see the thumb coming out, and look at the fingers lifting right up through the ball with the ball lofted about 6 to 8 inches over the foul line. That was just a perfect shot.
7 titles. His opponent, Dave Davis, 18 titles. 2 of the 5 finalists, whose titles total 87. Third 10-pin of this head-to-head match, our live coverage from Toledo.
Once again, Dickinson does not get a good break. He rolled that ball very well. The 10-pin's still wiggling down there, and yet He's still behind in the match. Cross lane. You have to be a little firmer on this lacquer or track condition when you go across that track area so you don't lose the ball to the left.
All right, the father of two, Gary Dickinson. Sit down now, and Davis is up 23-pin lead, 6 frame, 3 in a row. Let's get a profile replay of tall, lanky Dave Davis.
One of the great arm swings in the game of bowling. Dave Davis at 6'2" and 155. Locks that elbow all the way at the top, just a little above shoulder level. Now watch when he comes through how he stays locked with that elbow and the tremendous extension out over the line. Davis with 18 titles, 2 national championships, Firestone victory on his belt. When you have that great form, Chris, it makes the game pretty easy.
And with a 33-pin lead, Davis, who was voted into the PBA Hall of Fame in 1978, is on the left lane now. 4-bagger working. Five in a row for 38-year-old Dave Davis. His wife, Joanne, watching. There is, wait just a moment.
How do you grow a great cigar? Master planter Ralph Merrill knows. Plant special Dutch Masters tobacco seedlings in a fertile valley. Control the searing sun with clouds of special cloth. And wait. Now select only the best leaves and harvest them all by hand. That's how Ralph Merrill grows a great cigar. Like the Dutch Masters Corona Deluxe. There really are masters at Dutch Masters.
You want your car to be a shining example of quality. So insist on top quality Napa brand parts, because lots of Napa brand parts are better than your car's original parts. Case closed. When the name is Napa, the standard is quality.
Join us next Saturday on ABC as the Pro Bowlers Tour travels to Milwaukee, Wisconsin for the $125,000 Miller High Life Open. Alvin Liu will be on hand to defend his title against bowling's best. The Pro Bowlers Tour live next Saturday at 3:30 Eastern Time, exclusively on ABC.
And Bo, one of the few times a foul in our telecast in 20 years.
Dave Davis shooting for a spare on this shot, a full rack. And what a difference that makes, Chris. If he had carried this strike on the shot he fouled, he would have had a 43-pin lead. And here's the foul. Watch his foot. He slips, and see it just break that line right across the foul line. Now, that ball was a strike, but the foul deletes it as the same as a channel ball or 0. And what that does, with Davis getting 9, has taken his lead from a potential 43 down to just 11 pins through 7 frames.
Bo, I'd forgotten, you know what that feels like, don't you?
I had a couple of fouls. I had one in 1967 against the great Joe Joseph, and then I donated a victory to Jay Robinson in Denver a few years back with a foul. And all that is, Chris, is just getting out of time, not testing the approach, and slipping a little too much.
All right. Now Gary Dickinson trailing by only 11. And jumps right on it. He had a spare working for him. So it gives him 117 through the 6th. And a strike up in the 7th, and now a double could cut the lead to 1.
Second last year's PBA National Championship, second in last year's Firestone. We said earlier Dickinson has not been getting any good breaks in the championship round, but today he got as good a break as I've ever seen. Dave Davis had him on the ropes, could have knocked him out there in the 7th frame with another strike, slid over the foul line. Now Dickinson can cut Davis's lead down to just 1 pin with another strike.
Started off the tournament in 3rd, dropped to 19th, then came back to finish 5th. This is the first match live from Toledo. All right. These professionals are tremendous at jumping on an opportunity. As Dickinson has just done, the lead has been cut to 1. Now, after open frame, a foul, it's the 8th frame for Dave Davis. And a high hit leaving the 4-7.
very tentative on that shot after sliding over the foul line. It's such a rare thing to see a pro slide over the foul line. It'll be interesting to see what Dave has to say about that shot. Usually a pro will stick from stepping in water or something. Wife Joanne, she's an excellent bowler herself, knows the situation.
And with the same smoothness that this man has had, an 18-year member of the PBA, he covers the 4-7 in the big foundation 9th frame coming up.
Scoreboard tells the story. 1 pin separating these two great champions. First match. Davis a possible 228. Dickinson a possible 237. And once again, the lead is only 1 pin.
Rotating bowling ball into the pocket. 168 through the 8th with a strike in the 9th. What a match, Nelson.
And what a great shot that Davis threw coming back there in the 9th frame. Look at that ball. He would have knocked down tree trunks if they were staying there. Sharp break, powerful hit, solid in the pocket.
All right, now with a double. This is Gary Dickinson, who one time trailed by 33, can now take the lead. He stuck a little bit at the line, and it was a high hit, 4-7.
Part of the reason they're sticking, I think, Chris, is they're trying to aim so much. On a track or worn condition a little bit like this, the players have to play a much tighter line. Accuracy is of the utmost importance, so they'll be a little tentative, and they aim that ball and tightens up their legs. Dickinson with a spare would trail by 3.
So it's a spare in the 9th for 37-year-old Gary Dickinson.
As you can see, if Dickinson can throw a double, he'll force Davis to throw a double right down to the 10th frame, as most of these matches are. Most people wonder why the matches become so close. All these players on the tour, top players such as Dickinson and Davis, average somewhere between 214 and 217, so there's only 3 pins difference in their average. There has to be a lot of close matches.
Watching with you, standing room only crowd here at the Imperial Lanes. Another high hit, 4-7.
The one thing the right-hander cannot do on the left-hand lane, that is lane 25 here, is ease up. Dickinson spiced his target, did not have quite the speed. The ball broke high, leaving the 4-7. The match is not over. He will force Davis to mark in the 10th if Dickinson can convert.
That's Gary looking at the overhead score sheet. He knows exactly the situation.
Dickinson with a strike would bowl 2-0-3. Davis with spare strike would have 2-0-8. So no matter what, he's going to force Davis to mark in the 10th.
.203 for Gary Dickinson of Burleson, Texas. Now from Tinton Falls, New Jersey. That's in the Red Bank, New Jersey area, which is south of Paramus. Dave Davis
needs a mark.
Leaving a 6.
And out of all the pins he would like to leave, that is the easiest spare for a left-hander. Cross lane, the 6 pin, has to make that and get a 6-pin count to defeat Dickinson and go on to meet Ernie Schlegel.
And the loser of this first game in our live coverage, $4,500. There's tension occasionally on the face of the wives.
Davis needs 6 pins to win. You know, occasionally a player will get a 5-pin count. A professional bowler for a left-hander would most likely be the 3, 5, 6, 7, 9. Davis taking a little extra time here. I have seen matches lost when a player just needed 6 pins to win.
And with the pressure of having fouled.
Chris, he just wins by 1 pin.
Wow. What a way to start the PBA National Championship. Let's pause a few moments to hear these messages from some of the people bringing you this week's stop on the Pro Bowlers Tour.
The Pro Bowlers Tour. This ABC Sports Exclusive is being brought to you by the Miller Brewing Company, brewers of Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. And by Ford and your local Ford dealer who invite you to test drive the new 1981 Ford cars and trucks, including Escort, the new world car from Ford.
Here at the Imperial Lanes, 204 to 203. Dave Davis, the winner. He'll meet Ernie Schlegel. Pro Bowlers Tour will continue after this message from one of our sponsors and station identification.
How's the cold tonight?
Oh, don't ask.
I got you some cough medicine.
But I'm also sniffling, sneezing, aching. My head is stuffy. I'm feverish, and I gotta rest.
I was supposed to get a sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head fever so you could rest medicine?
That's NyQuil. It relieves the cough as well as this, plus all my other symptoms.
NyQuil.
Would you get me some?
Be right back.
NyQuil, the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head fever so you can rest medicine.
Working late again, Mr. Peabody?
Afraid so, Rose.
You were the genius who designed the Firestone 721 tire.
That's my problem. They want me to top it.
Top it? But isn't the 721 what they call a winner?
Oh, sure. It's got 7 around 2 wrapped by 1. There's 24 million on the road, you know.
And you're gonna top that, Mr. Bill?
Well,
The Firestone 721. It's one tough tire to top.
Tonight, it's a new team and all new action. 240 Robert.
Our live coverage of the PBA National Championship continues. Dave Davis, 204. Gary Dickinson, 203. 6 strikes for Davis, including a foul ball. And here he goes against very colorful Ernie Schlegel in match number 2.
Chris, if there was a pair of lanes that was designed for a player, I'd have to say it is this pair for Ernie Schlegel. The shot on this pair is as straight as you can go. Ernie throws as straight a ball as any professional right-hander on the Pro Tour. All he has to do is go right up the second arrow and stay with the shot. He loves this pair of lane, has a lot of confidence, and has always bowled well in this bowling center.
Dig those clothes. Ernie Schlegel, born in Manhattan, New York City. Yes, Nelson, as you said, talk about a powerhouse strike. Ernie Schlegel opens.
That's the Schlegel edge this week. We saw Dickinson go high on that same shot, the 4-7, but Ernie Schlegel has the ball straight enough at the back end, right in the track, to make it set in the pocket.
Now the winner, 204, 203. First shot. All but the 6 as we get a low-angle replay.
Dave Davis, watch that right foot slide into the foul line, that hand go right by the leg, and the good turn. Everything professional on that shot. Ball about 8 inches over the foul line. Look at that foot perpendicular to the foul line. You just can't do it any better except knock them all down. He hooked a little high and left a 6-pin.
And so the man who was last on our telecast in the Midas Open a year ago when he lost from the top-seeded position. But he set an all-time PBA record of 770 pins for leading a tournament heading into the finals.
Chris, we said the Imperial lanes hooks more for the left-handers on the right-hand lane, and it's a little slicker for the right-handers. The reason being is when they resurface a lane, they use a rotor buffer, and they'll cut one side of the lane first. On this particular pair, they'll cut the right side first on the right-hand lane and go down the other side of the lane. Well, the grain of the sandpaper wears down a little bit, so they don't cut the left side quite as much, causing more surface friction and a ball to break sharper.
Request for a reset granted by our tournament director of all these years, Harry Golden. There's Harry, moving back to his spot. Man with a lot of responsibility here as we televise the finals of the PBA tournaments for the 20th year. Spare working, second frame. Oh. Well, we have a little 4, 6, 7, 10.
Well, that's 2 6 counts in Dave's last 3 balls, and he has to be tentative after that foul. Here he just lets the ball get away, cuts right through the heart, leaves the big 4. He'll just shoot for 2 of them with a little extra speed. The only way you can make this is slide it over or bounce it out of the pit. There's barely 2 ways to make it. The 7-10, there's only one way, bounce it out of the pit.
And gets only one of the 2 he aimed for. So it's 23 for Davis through 2 frames. And a 17-pin lead by Ernie Schlegel, a 5'11", 155-pounder, 37 years old. They were all battling here in this field that averages 41 years of age. As to which of the 2 37-year-olds had an early birthday, Schlegel went out by a few days.
Schlegel with a great break. Davis opened the second frame.
Double. And he is on. And speaking of age, a 51-year-old legend will be bowling the winner of this match.
The profile of Ernie Schlegel, really a good arm swing. He throws this shot perfect. Look at that arm in excellent position. Watch the knee bend. Stays down at the line, gets all the way through the shot. One of the keys to good bowling and direction is the long extension and follow through towards your target. And a really good practice point for any players at home is not to try to hit the target with your hand, but try to hit it with the inside of your elbow.
Captain DePace Schlegel, watching as her husband now sets up on the left approach with a double working, 3rd frame, 2nd game. If you just joined us, Dave Davis edged Gary Dickinson 204 to 203. Explosive.
Davis has his back to the wall, struggling a little bit with his own game. Of course, he admitted earlier before we went on the telecast he wasn't as sharp as years before because of business commitments, but he's really got to go to the whip now. Trails by 37 pins.
There's one coming in the 3rd frame of our 2nd match. Meanwhile, the tournament leader, Earl Anthony, and the man in 2nd position, Dick Weber, warm up for their action coming up.
See the difference between the Davis stroke and the Schlegel stroke. Davis with the big, powerful, sharp-breaking hook at the back end. Schlegel down and in, following the track. Davis with a double could cut the lead to 27.
Beautiful mixing strike for Dave Davis, a former PBA National Champion, as is this man, Bob Strampe. We'll be back.
Every professional bowler has an arsenal of his own, special weapons for special lane conditions. Now, you can have your own arsenal in just 2 bowling balls from AMF. The AMF 3-Dot Classic in hard rubber for normal lane conditions. Now, the AMF 3-Dot Classic in soft rubber for lanes that demand more traction. Hard rubber 3-Dot, soft rubber 3-Dot. The arsenal from AMF.
Hey there, Teds. What in the blazes is that thing?
This is one of them new small models.
Ride good?
Good, rides great. Got me some Monroe-matic shocks. Little big shocks from Monroe.
Little big shocks?
Yep, best ride I ever had.
Of course, them's Monroe's.
Darn tootin' Monroe little big shocks. Even fits imports.
Yeah, imports. What's imports?
Small car, America rides Monroe.
Full house, over 2,000 spectators here at the Imperial Lanes, and dwarfed Now, a close-up of Ernie Schlegel, 3 in a row, leading by 27. This is our second match of live coverage of the PBA National Championship. Schlegel against Davis. Ernie taking his usual time. Oh, they are just blowing out of there. 4-bagger and a 37-pin lead.
The capacity crowd here at Imperial loves it. Now watch Ernie's ball, just straight into the pocket, drives all the pins straight off. There were 10 just dynamited out of there. Ernie Schlegel bowling as well as he's ever bowled in his whole life, and on a pair of lanes that he could not have made any better than for himself. Leads by 37 to extend that lead to 47 with one more strike.
Loves the 56-game format. He's cashed in 8 of the 9 tournaments that he's bowled in this year. Had his best year last year, winning twice. His first 2 victories. Wow! They look like Nelson Burton in 1970 winning here.
Whew. Well, he beat me here one year, Chris, and he is really tough on these lanes. Ernie, this is where he got it all started. This is where he got his confidence in Toledo, and he's taking advantage of it now. Davis trails by 47.
Double up. Another good strike. Cutting the lead to 37 pins in our second match. The winner to meet Dick Weber.
This is a big shot for Davis right here. He's putting some more pressure on Schlegel. Schlegel out running fast for the 5-bagger, but Davis, experienced veteran, won 18 titles, great come-from-behind player. If he can strike here, he'll cut Schlegel's lead to 27, but more importantly, he'll put added pressure on Ernie.
Leaving a 6-7 tough break.
Well, that's the practice Dave said he talked about. He's gotten sharper every day during the tournament, but this ball he lost a little bit at the line, laid it down, cut through very sharply at the back end, left a 6-7 split. Has to go for it here. He's so far behind in the match.
And we're going to have to get a reset on the 7-pin Nelson.
It was just wobbling, rolled over when the machine touched it. Anytime a machine touches a pin, after the ball has gone through the pins, it must be reset.
Human hands are still necessary. The past performance of Dave Davis in the National Championship. 2nd, 5th, 2nd, and of course the winner. So now it's 51 pins separating these 2 pros. Schlegel in the lead. 5-bagger, 6th frame.
First time in the final round of the PBA National Championship, and also this is the first time the National Championship has been held here at Toledo in Imperial Lanes. Last year we were at Sunnybrook in a suburb of Detroit, about 100 miles north of here.
13th time we've been at Imperial Lanes. Lapse of a few years, and I hope we keep coming back. Great city.
Great place for a professional tournament.
Halfway, Ernie Schlegel. Catherine is delighted.
Ernie loves it. That was just about the shutout shot for Dave Davis. Ernie Schlegel going at the 240 pace if he spares out with that 6-bagger. 61-pin lead. Davis, the best he can do is 229. Another thing will come on Ernie Schlegel's mind. He has the match pretty well in hand. Thinks about that perfect game.
Fidgeting, fussing, just about ready. One of the 4 Schlegel children, 37-year-old Ernie. Leaving a 6 after a string of 6 strikes here in the second match. The winner to meet Dick Weber. The winner of the semifinal then goes against Earl Anthony for the title.
Ernie Schlegel cross lane for the 6-pin. Got a break. Could have got a split on that hit. Went right through the nose. Easy spare.
So 60 pins now separating these 2 pros. We're going to take a break here at the Imperial Lanes in Toledo to return.
Ford and your participating Ford dealer announced the 10% cash assistance program. Right now, Ford will send you back 10% of the base vehicle sticker price on roomy new 81 Fairmonts. 10% back on hot new Mustangs. 10% back on beautiful new Ford Granadas, and 10% back on 81 Thunderbirds. Ford's 10% cash assistance.
Just when you need it most, get 10% from Ford.
Control 6 to base. Looks like this big old hole in the ground is going to be safe for the night. Over.
They come on all beat. It's Miller time.
Miller time. Time to appreciate the difference between a good beer
When it's time to relax
and a great beer.
One beer stands clear.
Miller High Life.
You got the time. We got the beer. Some Miller time. We got the beer.
Are America's champions Elaine Zayak and Scott Hamilton the world's best? Well, next on ABC's Wide World of Sport, we'll be in Hartford, Connecticut to find out at the World Figure Skating Championships as we cover the ladies and men's finals. ABC's Wide World of Sports is next.
Yes, an exciting and beautiful Wide World of Sports today. We had the bowl through while we were away. A spare in the 7th for Davis, now trying to mark with another spare, shooting the 7 pin on the left lane. Davis, the spares in the 7th and 8th frame, and Schlegel leads by 61, and he will shoot next. The reason we bowl through is the fact that we have an hour and a half, our time slot. And when we run behind, in order to get everything in that time period, we've got to bowl through. All right, Schlegel with a strike in the 8th frame.
Schlegel's got it all together. It's just a matter of how much he can bowl. He has a possible 279. We saw the highest game of our championship round bowl last week with a 266 Earl Anthony. And there's Catherine Schlegel's good luck charm, a little monkey on the floor. Well, she's already wore him out for this game. Ernie does win the match. It's just how much he can shoot.
2, 4, 5, 7, 8, and Ernie Schlegel advances. And for Dave Davis, it's $5,000. Dave Davis, a great champion.
Schlegel has a great shot on this pair of lanes, but he has to just stay down at the line. Look at Dave. Watched a lot of football games.
No gestures, but I know how he feels. If Schlegel is the winner, he'll meet the great Dick Weber. We're going to take a break and then return to the Imperial lanes. But first, this message.
If one plug goes wrong in an 8-cylinder car, you've still got 7 left to pull you along. But if one goes wrong in a 4-cylinder car, you've got problems. Autolite spark plugs are made for small engines. They've got a fused glass seal in here to give you full power, and a wide heat range that helps stop misfiring and fouling at low speeds. If you have a small car, why not get a plug made for small engines? Autolite.
With the rising cost of energy, Americans are fighting to preserve their comfort. You can handle it with Carrier, the #1 name in air conditioning.
I suggest you switch to a unit that will really cut your cooling and heating bills. I'll handle it with Carrier.
Brenda, we've got to stop heating like this.
What you need is the round 1 heat pump. It cools, heats, and saves money all year round. So don't give up your comfort. Fight back.
Handle it with Carrier, your energy ally.
People across America, from New York to L.A., they're leaving their cars at home and going the Greyhound way. No need to worry about driving when there's someone you can trust.
Next trip, leave your car at home and your troubles behind.
Go Greyhound and leave the driving to us.
And here at the Imperial Lanes, Dick Weber will be bowling Ernie Schlegel in the semifinal match head-to-head in our live coverage. The great Dick Weber with 26 titles, a legend. He's had great years, including 1971. Let's go back to 1971 and see the finals of another victory by Dick. Dick Weber is considered by many as one of the greatest bowlers in PBA history. He's had great success at the Imperial Lanes here in Toledo, Ohio. And back in 1971, Dick Weber won the Buckeye Open as he forced his brother-in-law, Norm Myers, to strike in the final frame. But Myers left the 4-7 standing and lost to Weber in a dramatic confrontation by a final score of 237 to 235. All right, the second match is completed now. Ernie Schlegel, a big winner in his first match, eliminating Dave Davis, 245 to 171. Davis, $5,000. ABC's Wide World of Sports coming up following our Professional Bowlers Tour telecast from Hartford, Connecticut, America's champions, trying to convert their national titles into world's titles, men's and ladies' finals, plus the Florida Derby from Gulfstream, a test for the Kentucky Derby hopefuls. That's on Wide World after the Professional Bowlers Tour. Match 2 coming up here at the Imperial Lanes. Standing room only crowd, and crowds during the week because of his bowling and his past and the great champion that he is, Dick Weber. Dick is warming up now as he goes into that pivotal semi-final match. The first match for Dick, and he'll have his hands full, Nelson, against Ernie Schlegel, who, with 7 strikes, powdered 245.
What a matchup, Chris. Ernie Schlegel striving for his place in bowling's Hall of Fame and his stardom, going against the man who's done it all. In my opinion, over the last 25 years, the greatest bowler. Today, trying for his first national championship. He hasn't been on a telecast in over 2 years. What amount of pressure there must be on this man.
And off the boards, knocking over the 10 pin, and it's a strike for Dick Weber, 51 years old, 5'10", 155. A much younger Ernie Schlegel at 37.
Ernie,
7 strikes and 245.
Ernie has a great shot on his pair of lanes, Chris, but I wonder if he succumbs to the pressure bowling against the great Dick Weber. Weber is one of the toughest men to bowl against that I've ever faced.
No, not in his first shot. Booming strike on the right lane. And a cool Dick Weber, the blonde Fonz.
Dick, in his heyday, used to come out of the gate firing, just like Schlegel did the first match. Start quickly on his opponent, try to get him behind. We have 2 players with that style right now. Interesting to watch these first 3 frames. Definitely there'll be some mental bantering going on out on the lanes.
Ernie Schlegel answering the challenge, opening with a double, and now the pressure goes back on 51-year-old Dick Weber. PBA, ABC Hall of Famer. He won 10 of the PBA's first 23 tournaments. A victory percentage that has never been matched. Going for a double. Right to the pocket. Match is all even. Earlier we had a chance to ask Dick about the changes that he's seen over the years.
I feel that the major changes that I've seen are the pins and the bowling balls that are out on the market now. It used to be in our day that we used to carry 1 bowling ball, and now we carry 8 to 10 to 12 bowling balls with us. So the bowling ball has made a big difference, and also the pin.
And when he says the pins, he means that the pins that we use today are a little bit lighter, move a little faster. These pins we're using today are 3-pound, 3-ounce.
Didn't quite come up to the pocket, and he knew it, and the tough competitor that he is, leaving the 2, the 7, and the 8.
Weber's style over the year used to be that slashing style that he always had when he was in his 30s and early 40s. But in the last couple of years, in order to hold his game together, he's become more of a contemporary stroker with the down-the-line ball, very smooth at the foul line.
At the line, hoping.
What a great shot. The 2 and the 7, the ball taking out the 8. No margin for error there. He made it perfect. Puts a little extra pressure on Schlegel. You know, when you're sitting on the bench and your opponent has a split, you figure you're going to pick up some pins. But when your opponent converts that split, adds a little pressure to the match.
Ernie's won 18,005 thus far this year. Like he did in his game against Dave Davis. Perfect. He is 3 strikes now in 3 frames.
The reason we see the line ball players here is especially on the right side, not the big hook ball players such as Holman, Mattingly, and Roth, is that when you have a track area, you must keep the ball on line and in that track area. Schlegel, when he had that shot there, pulled it a little bit, and with that line ball in the track area, will set in the pocket. On a urethane finish with a short oil and dry back ends where we see the big hook, when you pull it a little bit on a line player like that, it'll go high. So their mistake area is now to the left. They haven't seen that in a few weeks.
Leaving the 2-8 on the left lane, Schlegel, who had a 3-bagger.
By no means an easy spare. If you start the ball in that track or Warren area at the front part of the lanes between the 10th and 15th board, it may stay there. But if you point it across too quickly, you get to the left side of the lane, which breaks much more than the right. So you have to be very precision, just like Weber was on his last shot.
For Schlegel, a spare. We're in a city of 375,000. Johnny Guenther is a former national champion of the PBA.
When our band's cooking, the music smokes. But not me, because like a lot of my friends, I use Skoal smokeless tobacco. I just take a pinch of that good-tasting wintergreen flavored Skoal between my cheek and gum, and it gives me real tobacco pleasure without ever lighting up. So when you want something that smokes, listen to the Charlie Daniels Band. But when you want real tobacco enjoyment without smoking, try Skoal. A pinch is all it takes. Thank you. We appreciate it.
STP, a big name in racing for nearly 20 years. STP oil treatment on the track in some of the world's most expensive engines. Around the track, around the world, every day, tens of thousands of people get STP oil treatment. Get it for your car. Satisfaction guaranteed. Around the track, around the world, STP oil treatment is #1.
Tension developing here at the Imperial Lanes. Full house. We're in the semifinal match. It's Dick Weber coming back. He is against Ernie Schlegel, who won the last game over Dave Davis, 245. Weber, after converting a split, shooting in the 4th frame, trailing by 11. It just sort of bounced. The release was not what Dick wanted, leaving the 610 on the right lane. So it's a 13-pin difference of 2 right-handers. After seeing Dave Davis, Dave came out and won the first match 204 to 203 over Gary Dickinson. And Weber now for that spare. He gets it. Let's join Nelson Burton Jr.
With me is the tournament leader, Earl Anthony. Earl, you've won twice this year. Both times you were down the field. Once 5th, once 3rd. But today you're the tournament leader. Any other different strategy from the #1 position?
None at all, boy. I still got to win that first match, and this is the one that's going to win the championship. I'm confident. I feel like I'm bowling well. I think I'm going to do it.
He's bowling as well as ever, Chris. One more match, and we have Earl Anthony.
All right, on that straight line to the pocket on the left lane, Dick Weber. Dick opened with a double, converted in the 3rd, a spare in the 4th, now a strike in the 5th. Schlegel has a spare working. He'll be shooting in the 5th frame with a 13-pin lead. Schlegel defeated Dave Davis in our 2nd match, 245 to 171. His wife, Catherine, back in the pocket on the right lane, Ernie Schlegel.
Schlegel with a great shot, straight in the pocket. Most relaxed shot he's thrown in this match. Drives all 10 pins right off the lane. That style of Schlegel's is really an excellent style. You don't need a big hook to be a successful professional bowler or any type of bowler. More in the accuracy, more in the basic fundamentals. Schlegel has improved every year he's been on the tour. He leads by 13, can extend his lead to 23 with a double in the 6th.
Schlegel is the only bowler of the 5 here today that is not a bowling proprietor. Sure got his game on today. There's a double after a spare in the 4th, and a 23-pin lead for Schlegel, and
Here's his reaction. What a great break he got. He just dropped that ball at the line, Chris, and he went high, and it just held all the way. I said this was the best pair of lanes I've ever seen for Schlegel. He definitely used his area on that shot.
Now Weber needs to double. Right here.
Come on. Let's get those up the side.
Dick is mic'd with our wireless microphone and need a little help from the sideboards.
Now, Chris, all the players have an option of using the wireless microphone today. Weber and Earl Anthony once again.
Look at that concentration. So for Dick Weber, it's 105 through the 5th with a spare up in the 6th, and this is the semifinal game. The winner to meet Earl Anthony.
Great record in the National Championship, but you don't see any first-place finishes there. I'm sure that is one of Dick's goals, to win another championship, especially a major one. This the second jewel in the Triple Crown, the PBA National semifinal match. Weber trails by 23.
Well, leaving the 3, high hit.
Dick Weber's wife, Juanita, back at home watching this match, would probably coach him on that one. Just eased up on it, let it hook too much. He has to stay firm. Weber's style is down and in, very aggressive. He's stroking a little too much. I think in order to catch Schlegel, he's going to have to go back to the great old Dick Weber and go right after him.
Here's some other money winners this week.
360-man field, 56 games. Henry Gonzalez just missed. SOUTAR 2 weeks in a row right up there. The only 300 in the tournament bowled by Tim Black. Mike Albee, Rookie of the Year. Don Bell making an appearance. Burton sneaking one in. Gary Cunningham, who made the telecast here. And local Jerry Held. Churchy up there. Mike Berlin, steady as always. Former Firestone champion. Alvin Liu will be up at the Millers to defend his title. And Mark Ross, 17th place.
Now with a double up, Ernie Schlegel shooting in the 7th frame. All but the 10.
And that one really could have put the nail in the coffin for Weber. Here's rounding out the top 24. The ever-tough, powerful Fred Connors. Dennis Pate making his first top one. Frank Ellenberg, another tremendous player out here on the tour, doing it well again. Tommy Baker. Marshall Holman, our leading money winner going into the day. Rich Hartman. And Joe Berardi, who bowled a sensational 279 in the last game of qualifying, that just knows out Dick Weber's brother-in-law, Norm Myers.
Ernie, who looks very much out of control at the line, but nevertheless gets the job done.
Chris, he just muscles that ball down there. Now, Ernie doesn't use tape or anything in his thumb hole, and sometimes when it gets a little loose, or he has to grab a hold of it, he throws a little hard. Weber contemplating what he must do. I wonder what thoughts run through that man's mind. So much experience. He's seen so much over the last 30 years in this game. He's got his back to the wall. He trails by 23 with just 3 frames left.
Ernie Schlegel, 167 through the 7th with a strike up.
Important frames for Dick. He has to put some pressure on Schlegel. It doesn't look like Schlegel's going to give him the match. Weber's going to have to take it.
Coming in the 8th frame for Dick Weber, the former mail clerk from Indianapolis, Indiana. Moved on to St. Louis to join a famous bowling team, and he's been there ever since.
Must situation for Weber. He trails by 23. 9th frame, strike working.
Believe it.
Weber's struggling with that track area a little bit. When he says he can't believe it, when he starts the ball up to the pocket, it breaks sharply. When he goes a little wide, it doesn't finish.
Spare in the foundation frame for Dick Weber.
Ernie Schlegel in the driver's seat. With a strike here, he would all but shut out Weber. The situation becomes this. Weber, the best he can do is 2:14 with a strike in the 10th, 11th, and 12th. Ernie Schlegel right now going at a 2:27 pace. Can extend that lead to 33 with a double here in the 9th frame.
Rolaids bowling tip of the week will come up after this match. And the tip being for all you left-handers. Well, he left a 9-pin.
Ernie just raised up at the line, just throw the ball into the pocket. Once again, we said, the ideal pair, he's playing him perfectly. That mistake or pull area there, he did not pay the penalty. Got a good break and only left a 9-pin. Schlegel looking at the scoreboard. Needs 2 marks to shut out the great Dick Weber. The spare shot of Ernie Schlegel down the left side of the lane. As we always say, you always move to the opposite side of the lane that the pin stands on for most spares. This particular spare, the 9-pin. Notice how close Ernie does slide to that foul line. You know, Chris, if he happened to have a foul here as we saw in the Davis match, it would change the whole situation around.
Just got a re-rack on the left lane. Speaking of Davis, he won the first match over Gary Dickinson, 204 to 203. Then Schlegel, at whom you're looking, defeated Davis 245 to 171 as his wife watches. 23-pin lead by Schlegel here in the semifinal match. The winner to meet Earl Anthony. Wow. Ernie Schlegel keeps moving up. So coming up next will be Ernie. The Pro Bowlers Tour will continue after this message from one of our sponsors and station identification.
You're looking at the enemy of your spark plug, sooty carbon. It robs power and mileage. Motorcraft spark plugs fight the enemy. With Motorcraft's extended tip design, carbon is actually burned away as you drive. Motorcraft spark plugs for the future of your car, for sure.
What this country needs today is a really good rental truck at a really good price. So Ryder presents the 1995 a day truck. For local rentals, this 18-foot Ryder truck is now only $19.95 a day plus mileage. And Ryder has great rates on other size trucks too, from small vans up to giant tractors. What this country needs today is a really good rental truck at a really good price. Ryder.
How did this man become the greatest American hero? Find out Wednesday, March 18th.
Here in the PBA National Championship, 3 matches completed. The semifinal won by Ernie Schlegel, 236 to Dick Weber's 204. Now Schlegel will meet left-hander Earl Anthony, which gives us an opportunity to present the Rolaids Bowling Tip of the Week. Nelson Burton Jr. is joined by John PETRAGLIA, who is the defending PBA National Champion. And this is a tip that you want to watch and listen to because it'll help you that bowl from the left side. Here they are, John and Bo.
Pro Bowlers Tour Tip of the Week is brought to you by Rolaids.
Today we have a special tip designed for you left-handed players. And with me is PBA Tour veteran Johnny PETRAGLIA. Johnny, what are you going to show the lefties today that can improve their game?
Well, Bo, today we're going to study the aspect of the game that involves the different lines that the right-handers and the left-handers have to take to the pocket. Why don't you give us a demonstration of how the right-handers do it?
All right.
Because the majority of bowlers are right-handers creating a high friction surface, righties normally play the second arrow, which is a line closer to the center of the lane. Due to less play on the left side, there is a smoother surface. Because of this, left-handers can normally play closer to the first arrow.
Super tip, John. Can you sum it all up for us?
Sure, Bo. All the lefties have to remember is to roll their ball from the outside line.
Super. Thank you, Johnny.
We asked Roger Staubach to find out how people spell relief.
How do you spell relief?
For heartburn, Roger, R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
Relief from acid indigestion, R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
Rolaids really does spell relief.
Like a sponge, Rolaids antacid medicine consumes 100% of the acid required to give millions 100% relief.
How do you spell relief?
I spell it R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
For millions of Americans, Rolaids spells 100% relief.
Part of the fans watching here, the PBA National Championship at the Imperial Lanes in Toledo, Ohio, on the Maumee River. And now the final match, the Pro Bowlers Tour. Ernie Schlegel, who has won 2 matches and who has averaged 240, now goes against the hottest man on the tour, the great Earl Anthony, winner of more titles and money than any professional in the history of this game. The applause for these two as they battle for the winner's share of $21,000. The runner-up will get $11,000.
Chris, Earl seemed awfully aggressive in that interview. He was determined. He was biting his lip. He's ready for this title. He wants his unprecedented 4th national championship, but he's got to get by a man who is red hot and experienced Ernie Schlegel.
8 strikes in the last match, Schlegel. And he has one more. Coming into this final game, he's had 15 strikes in 2 games.
A little information here. Ernie Schlegel bowls on the left-hand lane, the one that hooks a little bit more. But Earl Anthony, being the tournament leader, decided he wanted to start on the right-hand lane and finish on the left-hand lane, which he thinks is a lot slicker. He says under the pressure, he usually pulls the ball a little bit. He likes the slicker lane to finish on.
Earl leaving a 7-pin on the right lane.
Earl Anthony with that Don Carter style, or say Earl Anthony style, the two have it all alone, that bent elbow. They kind of push the ball to the target, use medium speed, and depend mostly on angle and accuracy.
Oh, it's a spare for Earl Anthony. Left-handers have done well in the PBA National Championship. We ask Earl why.
I think there's a slight advantage for the left-handers, basically because of the number of games in the format, 56 games. The left-handers don't have to make the moves on the lanes as much as the right-handers do. And over 56 games, without making as many moves on the lanes or adjustments, you naturally are going to come out a little bit better pinfall than the right-handers are.
And what he means by moves is when the lanes start hooking a lot at the right from excessive play.
Good break for Earl Anthony, who's won 2 tournaments already this year, 2 in his total of 34. And this man is battling for his first national title and his 3rd PBA title, Ernie Schlegel.
3 players have won the national twice: Dave Davis, Wayne Zahn, and Mike McGrath. Ernie Schlegel has never won a major title: the U.S. Open, the PBA National, or the 3rd, the Great Firestone Tournament of Champions.
Schlegel, a double 10-pin lead here at the Imperial Lanes.
Just a tremendous shot by Ernie. Watch this release. Watch the fingers stay behind the ball. Arm swing close to the leg. Look at the fingers right underneath the ball, lifting the wrist through the ball. Actually, you cannot throw it any better than that. Watch the results. Watch the 6 drive into the 10, and all the pins hit the pit. Ernie has learned his lessons well. He has a 10-pin lead and extended to 20.
3 in a row. Ernie Schlegel and a 20-pin lead over Earl Anthony, who has a strike up. He'll be shooting now in the third frame.
Ernie has really put the pressure on his opponents very early in the match. He was way out in the front with a six-bagger against Dave Davis. Started very quickly against Dick Weber, got him behind 20 pins in the early going. Once again, he's got Earl down 20 after just 3 frames.
There's an Anthony strike. Susie watches as 42-year-old Earl doubles. He'll be shooting in the fourth frame, and you see a 10-pin difference between these two professionals.
One thing that is so great about Earl Anthony, watch how his arm swing goes directly towards the target. Earl playing right around the second arrow, almost the same line as Ernie Schlegel, but a little more hook.
Fourth straight appearance on our telecast for Earl. With a 3-bagger here, and a match is all even for the championship. It'll continue after this.
There's got to be a way to top the 721.
George Peabody, go to sleep.
Look, I designed the Firestone's tire using 7 around 2 wrapped by 1. There are 24 million on the road. Still, I ought to be able to top it, right?
Right.
Of course, it'll take time. Nights, some weekends, maybe months, years, a lifetime.
Maybe never.
What? Did you say never?
Never.
Never?
The Firestone 721. It's one tough tire to top.
The perfect time to add to your collection of quality tools is during the great All-American Workshop Sale, going on now at True Value Hardware stores. Get a free car care tool when you buy this Black & Decker router. And get a free Little Nick hacksaw with this Lufkin power tape. Buy this Swiss Metal Master snip and get a free 8-inch file. Or choose this quality vice grip tool set or this Black & Decker power package during the great All-American Workshop Sale at participating True Value Hardware stores and home centers.
Prestigious PBA National Championship started in 1960, and it was won by the great Don Carter. Now in another edition, in our live coverage from the Imperial Lanes in Toledo, Ohio, we've reached the final match. Ernie Schlegel, averaging 240, 15 strikes, has reached the finals against the great Earl Anthony. It is all even. Schlegel opened with 3 in a row, now shooting in the fourth frame. Colorful Ernie Schlegel.
And he seems to be taking more and more time, Chris. You cannot hear a sound in this building.
Toledo, Ohio, and Bo, I'll have to say, during this week, as Schlegel has a 10-pin lead, the media, a media masterpiece in the way radio, television, and the Toledo Blade covered this competition.
Super job, as in many other cities, but a major title, the PBA National Championship.
And, of course, this is the 9th week of our 16 tour of cities. Back to good old Milwaukee next week, and the Miller High Life folks and their $125,000 Open, the King Louis after that, the True Value in Miami, followed by the Fairlanes Open in Baltimore. 5th frame. Sliding by, and after a 4-bagger, this crowd. And in Toledo, incidentally, there are 50,000 sanctioned men and women bowlers, 26 establishments, nearly 600 lanes. So they get out and do it here.
Schlegel very disciplined in these 2 matches today, and in the 3rd match, he's keeping the ball wide when he makes a mistake. Didn't hit the nose on any shot.
Earl is mic'd, which is the option of the bowlers.
Usually a very talkative Earl Anthony under this extreme pressure is saying nothing.
Four-bagger for Earl Anthony of Dublin, California. Born in the state of Washington, Earl the Pearl.
You see a change in Earl's style. We've seen the microphone on him weeks before. He's always talking, joking around. He's asking for a re-rack now, but in this particular match against Schlegel, he's just concentrating, bowling well within himself, and a very aggressive Earl Anthony.
Marshall Holman is
Take a look at it, Harry. I don't like it.
He was talking about the re-rack, and he asked Harry Golden to take another look. And you heard Harry say, let's have a re-rack.
And what Earl said, Chris, was the 5-pin was off spot to the right. He says he has no pocket.
Sometimes it's better than others. I'll shoot that.
All right, now, both parties satisfied. Here we go.
Remember, the player's only allowed one re-rack per match. That was his second one.
6 frame. Oh, and the bucket for the left-hander.
Boy, I've never seen Earl get so mad with himself. He left the 3, 5, 6, 9, and I think he let that rack psych himself out. I'll bet you that's what's going through his mind right now. Look at that look on his face.
Oh, brother.
He went from a 1-pin lead to trailing by 3.
That figures.
What he said is it's spread. He means the 3-pin spread off the 5 makes the spare much more difficult.
Hold it right there.
Ah, he was happy with that. Stroked it in. Pretty lady, isn't she?
Yes, she is. Schlegel, who could have been in real trouble, got a break, a reprieve from Earl Anthony when Earl got the 6 count. Now leads by 3 pins. 6 frame.
Sliding by. Strike in the 6th frame for a man that's won 2 matches.
You watch a few of the characteristics of Ernie Schlegel. He has sped up his bowling in recent weeks, Chris, and I think it has definitely kept him a little looser and better under pressure. And number 2, you'll notice how he looks down at the ball before he throws it. That's because he does have rather poor eyesight in one eye, and he feels it's faster to focus when he just looks up and goes. See him looking down. In the last minute, he looks up to get focus.
But the 6 pin.
Pulled up at the line. That's his old trick when he really needed it. Yanks up straight up at the line. Never gave the ball a chance. Cross over and got a good break. Not even getting a split. This match, like all the major championships, usually goes down to the last few shots. This one, no exception.
Though, you know, we've had the joy over the years of watching the golf tour progress, but also the Professional Bowlers Tour progress, and to see a leading financial institution co-sponsor this event here, now that's more icing on the cake. So we congratulate the Toledo Trust in being a part of the Pro Bowlers Tour.
And they have been great to the players.
Come on, Molly, one time.
And one of the reasons is this man, Earl Anthony. He's had a fabulous career. That strike coming in the 7th frame, and this is a title match and only 3 pins apart.
The versatility of Earl Anthony. The last couple of weeks we saw him kind of babying the ball down the lane. Today he's going at it full thrust. A lot of side turn, a lot of lift, using the most power that I've seen Earl Anthony use in about a year. He needs this strike to take the lead. He trails by 3. Could end up with a 7-pin lead.
Fans here, along with Susie Anthony, acknowledging the double.
And Earl really put it on him. I mean, he is bowling. Let's see how Schlegel answers that strike. That Anthony is really going after his best form.
But Ernie comes up with a strike in the 8th frame. Tremendous bowling on the part of Ernie Schlegel.
This is the key shot in the whole match, Chris. The left-hand lane, the lane that may go high for Schlegel if he pulls up at his line. He'll be fighting with himself, within himself, to stay down and get through that shot without killing it. He trails by 7. He could once again retake the lead with another strike.
Susie now tensing up.
And you can imagine the feelings going through Ernie Schlegel now. That heartbeat on the approach. This is what it's all about. What pressure. Until you've been there, it's almost unbelievable to realize how much they go through.
And a foundation frame strike. One of the owners of Imperial Lanes, Junior Powell, a great Toledo bowler, is savoring this action, and he provided a lot of thrills for the people of Toledo in winning 15 city titles, and he's here watching along with you.
The situation now becomes the same for Anthony as it was for Schlegel, in a must situation to regain the lead. Double working, 9th frame.
Anthony wants that 4th PBA National Championship. So does this man.
Ooh. Situation becomes this. Earl Anthony, with another 2 strikes, can shut out Ernie Schlegel with a 266 game. The best Ernie could do is 259. Once again, Harry Golden, National Tournament Director, out there at the request of Earl Anthony, asking for another re-rack. Make sure those pins are right on spot.
No, I don't like that either. Take a look at it. See how Clyde's up?
Chris, remember the prerogative is with Harry Golden. He could have denied Earl Anthony a re-rack. That would have been a heck of a burden on his shoulders, though, at this point in the match.
Might have gotten a hat pin
Be on spot.
stuck somewhere by Susie.
Well, it's amazing how close those pins come to getting off spot when you need 1 strike. Your eyeballs seem to strain them down a little closer.
It's amazing how you pros can see it.
Situation becomes this. Anthony leads by 7. Good ball. With 1 more strike, it extended to 17. PBA National Championship on the line.
Come on.
It just didn't come up. 1, 3, 6, 10.
It's amazing, after that second re-rack, that's twice Earl's made errant shots, once in the 6th, once in the 10th. He still retains his lead if he could convert the 1, 3, 6, 10 spare.
Well, how difficult is that spare?
It's just like shooting for the 1, 3, 6. Not that difficult, but you have to have a little extra loft to make sure to carry the 6 into the 10.
Mm-hmm.
With that extra 10 pin in there, makes it a little more difficult.
222 for Anthony through 9 with a spare up, and our statistician, Palmer Falgren,
Look at the 10
got him with it.
Almost stood there, Chris, chopping it off with that ball breaking through. Situation becomes this. Earl Anthony, with a 7 pin counter better, would make Ernie Schlegel strike.
Come on, throw it up. Good roll.
His checkpoints, one of them a good roll. And Earl Anthony in this championship match has 8 strikes and a 242, and he's finished and now can watch as the pressure goes to this 37-year-old native of Manhattan, New York City, bowls out of Vancouver, USA, Washington.
Nothing more to say. Ernie Schlegel must strike on this ball. If he strikes, he is the new PBA National Champion. If he doesn't, Earl Anthony has won his 4th National Championship. 1 ball after 7 days and 56 games. 1 strike needed to win.
Wow. And down to 1 shot. Earl Anthony. Talk about tension. Never seen Earl release so much after that shot. 4 times winner of the PBA National Championship. His 35th title. Earl Anthony has won at the Imperial Lanes. Gets a hug from Susie.
I can tell a real cowboy from the drugstore kind, clean across Texas. The way he wears his hat will tell you. And the beer that you drink's a surefire giveaway, too. A lot of it's Drink Light beer from Miller. We love the taste, but we surely appreciate that it's got a third less calories than the regular kind. You see, you don't want to be filled up when you're out there punching doggies. Ain't that right, cowboy? I didn't punch that doggie.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
We call this the Cinder Block Mountain, a tough climb for any 4x4 pickup. And you know that 4x4 gas mileage is an uphill battle. But this is a 1981 Ford. It combines toughness with the best gas mileage ratings of all 6-cylinder 4x4 pickups. And it's the only American-built pickup with independent front suspension to step over bumps independently. Yes, Ford conquers the mountain with the best gas mileage. And it's built Ford Tough.
Today, bowling's more fun than ever, especially with AMF Magic Score. You knock 'em down, Magic Score adds 'em up. So this weekend, why not bring a friend bowling? You'll enjoy it even more with AMF Magic Score.
In a dramatic ending, Earl Anthony has won his third title this year. There he is. Stay tuned next over most of these ABC stations for ABC's Wide World of Sports, featuring the World Figure Skating Championships ladies and men's competition from Hartford, Connecticut. Final score 242 to 237. Travel arrangements made through and a promotional fee paid by United Airlines. United flies more people to Hawaii than any other airline. That's what Friendly Skies are all about. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports.